your experience with
Okay.
with Ori. I need a PowerPoint from your text, from your diagrams.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So what we're trying to do, Charlotte, what I'm saying to them, because they're so busy with delivery, I've said to them, like things that Master Sunna's come in, is not aware of all the charitable things they need to have in place, right? I've said to them there's a lot of paperwork that they need lawyers.
They need a lawyer. I mean, basically what we can do is we can talk through what we've done.
Expression.
Putting the house in order,
Right,
right?
okay.
So this is what they're, which
And then
is
from your drawings.
So I did governance, finance and fundraising, marketing and PR, product development and evaluation, which is kind of our boxes, yeah?
And then I've detailed a little bit more.
Right, legal firm to be appointed,
Yeah.
their charitable status, procedures in place, so they've got charitable status, but just even you and I were asked questions last week
Yes.
by their
I
lawyers.
mean, with your charitable status, you've got all the documentation for that. You've got memorandum and articles and all that sort of thing. Okay, fine.
3 years.
Are you a company limited by guarantee?
Master Jim does all this.
Yes, she does, and
Well, you should check that.
I think we are.
Well, you should check that because
Okay, write this down. You've got pen and paper.
somebody would need to take this because
I've got it.
depending, I mean, you know, you are a much bigger organisation than us, and you are a much more complex one because you're international. So there are a whole nother layer of things that you would need to be aware of, which I don't know about, because you obviously will interact with other legal jurisdictions. But in this country, as far as I am aware, it is best, not just best practice, but best for the charity, and indeed those people who are trustees and members of that charity, for the charity to be a company limited by guarantee.
As far as I know, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the intention.
Yeah.
Right, so let's go through it one by one. So legal firm appointed, I'd suggest they get onto business in the community.
We actually have a lawyer who's giving his time to support us now,
Right.
who actually took us through the charity application, so he knows.
Great, right,
the
that's
organisation.
fantastic.
So you've got that. So it's really important to go through all the procedures. Now, Charlotte, what sort of procedures do you think we've had to have? I mean, paperwork, you've had to all sorts of different bits.
Well, I mean, there's a list of things here. It's not complete because we're still, you know, everybody is having to. We're still having to do various pieces, but going through this equal opportunities policy, disciplinary procedure, grievance procedure, recruitment and selection policy, training policies, volunteer code of conduct, volunteer confidentiality and data protection, health and safety, risk assessment policies, safeguarding vulnerable adults. I would have thought probably in your position you'll need to all be CRB checked.
We are.
Yeah. So I mean, you've probably got a lot of those things all ticked
Pretty
off.
much.
Yeah.
On the policy front, just so you have an idea, I mean, in the past I've been involved with the not-for-profit sector, so working with local and national government, with a national charity on skills and training. So in terms of setting up and business planning and setting up these policies in place, I've got a bit of experience, and with Emily we were kind of working through things. The idea of bringing the lawyer in is to kind of finalise as much of this as
That sounds like
possible.
you've done
So,
exactly the right thing.
so some of them are in draft, some of them we haven't even started because we need help with. So
well, I mean, we're
that's
happy.
the idea.
As long as you don't use Warrior's name, but if we've had to write some of these
No, it's
papers,
Actually,
Really?
no, we can't do that.
Really?
A lot of these have come via our lawyers, and it's specifically for our
absolutely.
use.
No, for most
So
charities
you-
it's much better.
so
to
what
have
Charlotte
done
needs to
on your
copy
own.
you is just the one sheet here, which shows the contents of what we've had to put together.
Yeah.
And this is not, as I said, this is not a full list. This is actually
But it'll
put
give your
together for
lawyers.
some of the
Yeah.
meetings we've had to have with various potential funders, which this is to answer their quite extensive questions. So it's pretty comprehensive, but it's not absolutely.
So if you
No,
take the
that'd be really
checklist, the
helpful.
contents
Yeah.
sheet, which I think would be really good, and then the 3-year business plan, you guys need to be really getting that in
Well,
order.
that's something that's starting properly.
Yeah.
It's been kind of loosely formulated in the
Yeah.
past, but most definitely, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, the fact we're growing so much as well, and the work we're doing, and even Eric, who was having a meeting with Mind just yesterday, was it? that, really rolling out our support to them.
We remind us actually to come to do the same thing as all your dads. They come once a month. They will come once a month to the centre.
Fantastic. With their clients, mental people with mental health issues, which is brilliant. And Mind's a really good organisation to work with because they're massive.
Yeah.
Can I borrow a pen? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I think this.
After last night, we had lots of pens. It's lovely.
So
Did you recover?
it's her birthday today.
Oh,
Happy birthday on the day.
Oh, yes.
And I said to
No,
her
no,
husband,
right,
which didn't make me laugh when I woke up this morning, I said to John and Charlotte, he's going to go and open a bottle of champagne. And Charlotte goes, John, open a bottle of champagne, which I did laugh.
Well, I mean, we had a cup of coffee when we got home, then we went to bed, and this morning I got up, I thought I'll just wait for him to say something nice, and nothing happened. And then eventually, because I was sitting looking quite grumpy, and he said, oh, well, happy birthday, but I did say it to you last night. Okay.
And breakfast.
No, he did nothing. And
Tell
so
me he's
then
horrified.
I gave him a hug and said, I'll see you this evening. I said, you can give me my birthday present then. He just looked at me, absolutely horrified. Now, he did take my daughter shopping on Saturday, and he did buy me a very sweet little antique flower holder thing. But I didn't think it was from my daughter. Just one flower holder. And so I looked at him, and he said, well, you did have a present on Saturday. And I said, well, I thought that was from Hattie. And you just looked horrified. I said, it's fine, it's okay, you don't have to bother. So he stomped off to work.
No, Livy, my daughter today, be mulling over what's going to get you. I hope you take you out to dinner tonight.
We're going to a curry house.
Oh, good.
It should be your choice.
After 25 years, I really shouldn't be surprised or upset.
Yeah,
But it does. But luckily, I had a lovely conversation with my daughter. Texted me and said, "Call me." She's at boarding school. I called her. And she got her dormitory to sing "Happy Birthday" to me.
Oh,
Happy birthday, Hattie's mommy. I was so.
And you've got some happy birthday.
And my father phoned up, and my son from Ireland. So it made it all up. And it's only my grumpy husband. So that's all right.
And I think also it was your big thing last night. So he's probably
I think a nose has slightly been.
I think there is. I think there's a bit of that going on.
Sat there looking
So,
like
exactly.
in his sweater.
Oh gosh!
You're wearing a sweater. He said, it's bloody cold outside. I said, it's not cold in here. You can take it off. I'm not taking my sweater off. He sat there in his sweater all night.
He's
God.
neglected.
I think he
did feel
I think
neglected.
certainly when Charlotte, this is what all those people there.
And it was serious last night. Serious people
People
there.
very
It was the most professional. It was really professional. I think he just probably felt.
Combat stress, all the Royal British
And
Legion,
they-
all the quotes when they see the presentations coming through, the endorsements would get.
So anyway, I think he felt a little bit.
You see you do it quietly and you throw that out.
Yes,
all that out.
he did. It's a bit chaotic and oh god,
Yeah.
this is what Charlotte does and Eva does and
Did the man from King's College come in the end?
Yes, and I schmoozed him in and Jackie did, and he's going to meet with me.
Oh, fantastic.
So-
Well, I just had a doctor phone me just now, Alex Ford wanting us to go down to Tidworth and do a presentation.
John said, oh well, in your presentation everyone glazed over when you said PCL. I said, I don't care because there's two people in the room that was there for.
Yeah,
Sue Freeth
yeah.
and with the professor
Yeah.
from King's. And if everybody else was bored for 30 seconds, I don't care.
Yeah.
We got both of them. Sue Freeth was really pro everything.
Good.
She was saying to people, do you know this is the only charity that's proper evaluation?
Good. Right. She's with the Royal British Legion.
So anyway, back to
charity,
this.
so just very quickly now, 3-year business plan critical.
Yeah.
Charity accounts in order. Now Charlotte does hers, obviously we can't give you our accounts.
No, but what I do, obviously I produce the year-end financial statements which get registered with the Companies House and the Charity Commission. I then produce, I've been doing 6 monthly management accounts. Next year we'll probably end up doing quarterly management accounts, but every month for the trustees, and in fact I do it on, it's a working document, so it's always up to date on a daily basis, weekly basis. I have actually got, what I do is I use it's half a balance sheet, it's half a cash flow, it's a P&L as well. Basically it's the P&L, but it shows you what happens to the cash. So that every time you change anything, it shows you at the top what your cash balance is.
And if you show them your headings at some point, maybe send
Yeah,
them to a bank one.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
really good to see.
So what I do at the top
how
is
she
I've
runs
got along the top line is what your cash balance is each month, and then you've got your income by category, and then you've got your total income number, then you've got your expenditure in all different categories, total expenditure, then you've got your surplus or loss per month, so you can see the running total of where your results are, and then you've also got, I mean, when you're running especially a small business like ours, cash is king, so you could be making a profit, but if you've run out of cash, then a profit is useless. So it's important to understand whether we've got working capital for the next 6 months or whatever it is. So it's a P&L, but it has a cash thing as well, which I think is actually quite, for our size, it works very, very well, and it means that at a glance, all the trustees and Eva can see exactly what's happening. I'm
So
quite
just-
happy. What I could do is I take all the numbers off, and I can
Well,
show you
if I email you anyway,
Yeah.
and then you can just...
yeah, absolutely.
Of
And then
Yeah.
obviously you have totally different headings.
So just very quickly, I'm going to go through this because we can continue chatting this
Yes,
I've
okay.
got back to Somerset. So just very quickly, draw up a proposal of trust funds, right? Simon Llewellyn, you've already linked with, but we need to get him in. It's very critical
I
that
just
trust
spoke to him
funds.
this morning.
Great. We need to. He needs to do a good look at all that fits, and we can show you. So he'll show you some of the proposals and the deal. He writes beautifully, and Charlotte helps him. So the two.
Yeah,
of
what
them
I
are
find with
very
Simon is really good at doing the detail. He'll do detailed writing, but what you need to do is you need to spend a lot of time with him, going through what it is you actually want to say. That's the key thing.
That was what we...
Then he will do a dump, and he will do it.
Exactly.
But then
Then
he
you
won't.
amend
But he
it.
won't get it right.
Yes, absolutely.
So then you need somebody whose job it is to spend, because the nuances of these things. If you get the nuances wrong, it's
You can send.
you just
it.
blow it off.
Yeah.
So you actually have to spend a lot of time doing that. And then all the every time you do it, you need a lot of backup information, finance information, budget
Because they
information.
go through
all sorts of
every
things.
time.
puts
Every trust
Yeah.
fund
what you can...
will go through everything, crawl through it. They come in here. They said Charlotte for 3 hours last week. Lloyd's TSB did, didn't they?
Yeah,
I mean, you will
And
be
I've got Tudor. I mean, when we
absolutely
finish
Tudor.
today and tomorrow, I've
Should
got
see
to
the list.
imagine. Listen, this is after doing
Evidence.
a bid and giving them extra information and having a 2 to 3 hour meeting with them. And giving them more, and then now they've come back with a double,
Huge
two
list, 2 pages,
two pages of
evidence
Yeah.
and everything.
And it's not just sort of small
Heavy.
things. It's each one of those items is a piece of work in itself. And you've
So
got
you
to get it
need, so
absolutely-
before you start doing all these bids, right, you need to have your house in order, which is what you've put here. That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. And Charlotte can share with you just how much information she gets. We can do that offline. But then there's fundraising, sponsorship, the centre work, which you put there. Then there's marketing, PR. I'm not going to go into that because you've got Joe doing that. But I have to say, I think you've got to get your house in order before you. Joe's doing brilliantly on the PR, marketing, the film stuff. Really get your house in order in the next 3 months before you start putting the PR and marketing. That should come last, right?
Yeah, because absolutely, as soon as you get asked any questions, if you haven't got all this stuff in order,
No, exactly.
you just get
And
full marks.
they'll then do an investigation.
Because anybody who decides that they've got any gripe against you, they just go straight for all the minutiae
That's
of the admin side. And even if it's not something that really matters, if they can find one thing that they can hang it on, then everyone goes, oh,
That's
well,
right.
if that's wrong, what else is
You won't
wrong?
touch them. And don't
Yeah.
forget, trustees, there's lots of people who you don't know who are assessing your charity if the bid gets put in.
I get phone calls sometimes or letters from, I have no idea who these people are, but they have been up onto the charity's website, they've found us, they've been looking at us, and
They want to know why our accounts for 1 year, 3 years
the
ago,
first
they were
year,
late, and
they were
still
slightly
asking
late.
us
It
why
wasn't
they
our
were
fault
late.
at all, because we changed over. The firm that was doing as our lawyer, they did the company secretarial, and they outsourced, they hived it off, and basically, when it was
all
hived
your
off,
accounts.
it just basically, they missed the deadline. And that's going to be on there for 5 years. And I have to explain this. We did nothing wrong, and it doesn't actually matter because it was 1 month. It wasn't. It was, and we were tiny. We only had about £10,000 worth of income. It was just tiny. And ever since then, we've been absolutely, but it's there, and so anything you've got that is...
Now, Charlotte, what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you, because you're going to come and join us, right, with these guys, with the tax, they're going to come and have colleagues.
Right, what time's the tax?
You've got I've got to go on and meet Katrina. I'm just going to say product development.
I think the
which I'm
tax is at
doing.
20 to 1.
Yeah, so
It's
you
booking
guys, if you do 5 minutes just on the evaluation with them, because I think on
That's
camera it's
great.
great for them to hear about the research and what you've done, because it's
Mm.
brilliant. The taxi will take you off. I'm going to go in the car now,
Okay.
because I've got to collect the children. There's snow coming, then all the children collected by 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And Puddle went missing. All night I've been in tears. My lovely Dalmatian, they thought she was dead last night.
Did she come back?
She did a text I got this morning. I was in floods of tears thinking she'd been impaled with her collar around her, because she's got this infection. And my girls said, we've been out all night looking for her, can't find her. And they found her cowering upstairs in our house. Somehow she got in, and the infection is running through her body. So it's cost me 600 quid so far. This is going to probably cost me 2,000. I'm operating on her tomorrow morning. So she's got this, whether she's going to survive, this is, my animals are my children. So I've got to collect children at 4 and then deal with that. But I've done all the thank yous, started all the thanks with Bex, so I'll go through all of that with her. The only thing I had a question for was on the auction lots. who was it who bought the Antonio Colucci lot?
I've
Wasn't
got
that a
the
good
paper,
source?
it wasn't.
Don't worry.
I need to look at my sheets. I
So
can't because he got
you're
very
going
close.
to,
He
you're
said
going
he
to
did a lot
join
of
us.
it.
I'll take the others up. If you can't all fit in the taxi, we're just going up to Coluccio's. We'll just do a cheap and cheerful to thank you guys because you were fabulous last night helping us. That's the key, and I will meet you up there. I've got Katrina.
We'll
I've just got
leave
her.
in 5
If you
minutes.
can just bring some petty cash, I just bought Katrina a load of some flowers and Nikki Greenleaf this morning, so if there's any cash left, I wouldn't mind getting that back.
Okay,
So
see you
guys,
soon.
I'll see you up there in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Great, super.
Thank you.
Right,
So,
valuation. I mean, what we do is, it won't be appropriate for what you do. What you need to do is find somebody who can advise you on the area that you're in.
Is it John Barry?
Well, no, I wouldn't talk to John Barry. It would be not because I'm trying to keep him to us, but because it's not his field. I mean, he came to us as a favour of a friend
Yeah.
when we needed somebody to do the stats for us. This area isn't actually his field of expertise, so he's been able to he's a very good statistician, and he can do all that, but he's not somebody who can take this forward for us, and that's why we're talking to other universities about how we can take our evaluations forward. What you need to do is to find somebody in the academic world who has an interest in the sort of area that you're working in and understands what type of evaluation you need to do. And the first thing you need to do is think about why you're doing the evaluation. Who is it for? What are you trying to achieve by doing evaluation? Who are you trying to convince? Because depending on the market base that you're trying to convince, you would use different types of measures. And we've been using very clinical measures because we've been
Can
trying
you
to...
talk about your evaluation that you've done for Warrior?
Well, we use CORE, which is clinical outcomes in routine evaluation. We use PCL, which is a PTSD measure, and we use one for depression, CES, and we use the Rosenberg for well-being. But we've been doing very clinical ones because we've been trying to convince psychiatrists, basically. So heavy-duty guys at combat stress and the MOD. So you need very, very clinically based evidence. We're going to need to bolster that by continuing to do the longitudinal sort of work on that. We also are now trying to capture more anecdotal type of information, but in a robust statistical way, and that's one of the things we're talking about.
What our experience so far has been with is mainly the anecdotal, the qualitative side of it, because of the way in which we've had some discussions now about getting the quantitative stuff down, both pre and post. And it's been really, it's just the kind of labour intensiveness of it, so we just need to look at a smaller cohort group and kind of focus in that way.
Well, as I said, what you need to do is to work out, when you get evidence, what is it you're going to do with
That's
it.
exactly.
Because you obviously you're seeing a huge number of people, so you're not going to want to do this to every single person that comes through. So how are you going to use statistical sampling and all this sort of thing?
We've actually devised, one of our colleagues has a bit of a whiz on a programme in front. She's come up with a programme for this, which is fantastic because it's basically, she's just given us exactly what we need. But what we do, we've reached a point where we just need to run it through someone who has the skills and the understanding of what.
But she's come up with the questions to ask.
Well, we've come up with the questions based on a discussion we've had with a couple of people at university and
Right,
that
okay.
side of it. So it's that, but it's been dormant now for some time.
You see, I mean, I'm only a novice at this really, but I would say if you're starting from scratch, one of the things you should consider is using an existing, well-established measure to begin with.
Yes.
Or at least alongside. Because otherwise, if you're devising basically your own measures, even if they've been reviewed and okayed by somebody from the university, it's not something that other people recognise. And they'll just say, well, so what? You've asked people if they feel better. They won't know. Whereas if you say you use, I mean, we use CORE, that's used by the NHS.
Yes.
So whenever I stand up in a mini meeting and I say we use CORE, I get lots of nodded heads because they all use it. And so then they sort of switch off and I say everything else because they think, oh, well, that's all right, they're using that. And I think what you need to do is find something that is akin to that for what you do.
Sure.
Core wouldn't be appropriate for what you do, but you need to find something like that that is in
the realms
widespread, you know, it's in the sort of mainstream, it's used by mainstream practitioners. Because then when they turn around and start having a go at you, if you're measuring it on the measures that they use, it does take they still try, and they're still, you know, it's not easy. They still say, no, we don't believe it, and they find other reasons not to believe it. But it certainly removes an awful lot of their ammunition.
Yeah.
And then alongside that, you can build in, that's what we're trying to do now, is build up more of the measures and information that we want to see, which we can actually use ourselves to say, look, this is what's happening to people's lives. We still probably won't be using that to convince the MOD or something like that to use us, but we will have the hard stuff for them, and then we'll have the more behavioural or life experiential
that
type
well-being
of yes,
things as well.
but then in some audiences that actually counts for more. But I still think you need to have the hard evidence. And I would start with
funders,
that.
especially without that.
With funders without that, you don't get it anyway. So I would try and get. If you've got contacts into universities, I would ask them alongside this what you could use that would be well respected at the moment.
Because I'm trying to remember which university we went down for a meeting with one of our projects on drug addiction. So with
Well, you're just around the corner from sort of UCL and things, aren't you?
yeah,
So
and Westminster as well,
Yeah.
for that matter.
So I mean, you want to try and get that.
You have to start all working with that.
Well, we've got a presentation tomorrow with Westminster, so I'll probably chase
Yeah.
it up with them anyway.
That's the sort of course of action we would take.
And
then-
fine.
Because remember, with evaluation, I have to keep sort of banging the table on this because the trustees and Eva and everybody get very excited. Well, I think they want immediate results, and then they want to change track because actually something else looks much more interesting to record. And the thing you have to remember about evaluation is once you embark on a form of evaluation, you're committed to doing that for a long time, because unless you have the results over a long period,
That's right.
it means nothing. So the fact that
significant at all, but
it's a significant input, it's an investment in doing it, and therefore you need to get it right. It doesn't mean to never change, but you have to recognise that whatever you do, you're going to be committed to following that up for quite a while, and you have to hold your line, maybe with colleagues sometimes, about the fact that you do have to pursue the same thing, and you can't just.
How long have we been involved with you? Because that's before my time.
It's about 2 years now, 2.5
Yeah.
years.
So there's never been any evaluation of key energy within the Warriors?
No, we couldn't do it because you can't separate out. I mean, we are evaluating what happens on the programme. There's no way we can actually. Yes, and there's no way we can start looking at the other therapies. I have raised it, and there's absolutely statistically it would blow things out of the water.
Yeah.
So that is not, and that is not helpful for you. What you need to do is to be able to analyse what you're doing separately, and then you can bring that to the table with other people. But you can't mix it. It's bad enough. I have enough problems about the fact we have sort of probably three different processes going on our courses. You talk to a senior psychiatrist and they say, well, no programme can work if you're mixing things up like that. End of story. And I sit there saying, well, my results show that we are. And they go, well, I don't care. It can't be happening. Right, okay. So, you have to be, the more purist you bet, could you do me a favour and take, oh no, I'll have to come back up to the office.
Actually, I can't drink, so I'm very bored.
What was happened?
Oh, just on my footing. It's a very old, it's an old wall.
Oh, God.
Thank you all so much for last night. You were such